know, we are going to have to make more often the executive decision to say, you know what, I'm going to opt out of this, opt out of all of this election treachery, Republicans, Democrats, none of this stuff matters. You're in a country that you were supposed to only be in for a season in life. You weren't supposed to be there the whole time. When your ancestors were taken from the slave trade, they weren't supposed to stay there forever. People don't stay in captivity forever. But let's say for the sake of people who say they are from America, let's say you were supposed to stay there forever. Well, even if your family originated in America, let's say you are an indigenous Native American, even though our people are not, but let's say you are, for just the sake of the video, the issue is that mostly all of the Native American community has been destroyed and desolated to utter destruction, which leaves them at about 2% in a nation that was originally their own. And so the next logical thing would be to say, okay, why am I going to stay somewhere like that, where my entire lineage has been obliterated mostly, and I'm part of the 1% that's still alive? That's like the quickest way to become extinct. And it's strange that we are willing to just stay in these places with these people because maybe you like the white neighborhood you live in. I grew up in a white neighborhood, an Ashkenazi Jewish community, one of the richest communities literally in America, with literally the number one, or at least back when I went, the number one school district in America. And I'm here to come back and report to you that it's not all that. Just to be quite honest, compared to where I am in Southern Africa, for 4 going on 5 years, owning multiple companies that we get to pass down to our 5 children. And by the way, 2 of our children were born on African soil and have property in the mountain regions of Tanzania that they will be able to inherit and live in when that time comes, should they decide, hey, I want to marry somebody from my homeland, Tanzania. Like, if that's their choice, they have that choice. It's time for our community to actually want to diversify our options. Like, if we don't want to diversify our options, you see people of all nations in America. The Chinese still have China to go back to. The Spaniards, the white folks who are from Spain, they still have Spain to go back to. Even the Africans, the Ghanaians, the Senegalese, the Nigerians who come and, you know, leverage a bit of America. At the end of the day, when stuff hits the fan after this election, they're still going to have their communities to go back to. But unless we turn on this international scope and mind, we will perish in that land. We are already perishing in that land, to be quite honest. Let's just be honest. And you can see it even more apparently when you're outside of America and you see what life is really like, what humanity is really like, because humanity in America is not a good representation of humanity across the world. It's just not. Where you have the most serial killers, where you have the most sicknesses, high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer of any developed nation, you know, it's just not. It's not very indicative of what the best of humanity is. Like, you can see that through the culture, through the media, through the obsession with everything that is perverse, through the obsession with death and being sickly, through the obsession with robots and having robots come into your house and cook for you, and all of these strange things that makes America look like a really horrible sci-fi movie gone wrong. So these are the things I want you to think about today. As you're somebody that's like, I'm going to these polls, I challenge you to really ask yourself, what's going to change? What's going to change? And if you're one of those people that you've been so beat down that you don't even want change, I think that's what's happening to a lot of people. People are just so tired they don't even like question what's happening. They don't even question what's going on. Take a trip to the motherland, okay? Take a trip to Namibia. Take a trip to Zambia, take a trip to Tanzania, Kenya, Ghana, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Tunisia, Morocco. Take a trip and see what else is out there and how people are living more simply. Because America is at a treacherous crossroads. And it's a crossroads that you will not be returning from. It's similar to 2020. After this crossroads tomorrow, nothing's going to be the same. Since 2020, nothing has been the same. So after you get over this hurdle of this next crossway, then everything changes, and it's not going to be for the better for our community. Whether you're voting Trump or Harris, it's a waste of energy. It's time to just opt out and say, you know what, I'm going to go live on an island somewhere. Even if you have to live in Puerto Rico so you can dip your feet into international life, because how much better would it be? I'm living this right now. If you could build multiple properties throughout different nations of the world. Now, the way we like to do it, we like to invest in like proximity. So we're not like building in Belize and then building in Tanzania, right? Like we have proximity to where we're building. Like we can hop on a flight that's less than 5 hours and, you know, visit our investments, right? But it's like the debt structure. Like when you own multiple properties in America, you own multiple mortgages, versus Africa, you can just own it outright, or you can use responsible financing for a down payment and really have high capital gains, because everybody's looking at Africa, everybody, and so there's no shortage of resources going around here on the continent. That's a fact, especially in real estate, man. If you're new here, feel free to binge the channel and the videos we have done on the real estate, because it's I mean, you can just see where I'm at right now. I'm in a very beautiful place. You can't see the mountains. But yeah, we're gonna have to decide, and it may be diverging and divesting for your own family. Even if the people around you don't want to diverge and divest, you literally have to see it as this is the last frontier. This is the last action I can take to ensure a legacy for my children, to ensure health, wellness, and peace, to ensure that I leave behind a legacy that makes sense. It don't make sense to leave behind a legacy and say, all right, little Johnny, go get a job just like I did. That's not a legacy. That's you leaving them out to fend for the wolves, and then you wonder why little Johnny and them, they acting wild out there, because the Black community does not care about business. If our community cared about business the way we do celebrities and sports and all of this foolishness, it would be different. But we just don't care about business, and it's totally the opposite in Africa, where you will see young children start up their businesses. You will see young children that have toys or drums or crafts, whatever they're making, and selling their art, and they will go out and bring it to the marketplace. That builds confidence. There's a level of confidence that you see in African children that is not there in Western children, especially Black American Western children or African descended Western children, because it's impossible to have that level of confidence when you're in that close proximity to people, institutions, and things that despise you, and then your parents aren't properly parenting the way that it's thought to be in the African community. Because here in Africa, parenting is so much different. There's full accountability and responsibility, and full village mentality, full caring about the next person mentality, and that has been destroyed from the Black community for decades now. So it's like, why are you just sitting in destruction, just waiting for it to happen and saying, you know, it's fine because we have Beyonce and everybody is prancing around on the stage while we're being destroyed. So if you're listening to this, I implore you to get into entrepreneurship, reading professional development books, get into understanding the Bible from the proper perspective, not the churchy perspective, the perspective where you have authority on high that can move mountains and that aligns you to the prophecies that are coming. I just wish people would listen. I know only the remnant is going to listen, but I wish y'all would listen. I wish all of my people would get to safety and peace and realize that your oppressor, after 400 years, still has nothing good in store for you, and that your plight has not changed much since the days where you got off the slave ship. It just looks different now. It just looks different. So I implore you, you know, you can binge watch our videos. You can learn about investing in Africa, Eastern and Southern Africa to be more specific. You can learn about starting your own business from home, teaching your children the principles goals of entrepreneurship. At the very least, get them in a network of traveling and being a global-minded investor. This is how people raise their children outside of America. Americans don't do this as much. Get them used to actually being in the real world. That way when they're older, they won't be running around like Pookie and Ray Ray and those folks. Those folks run around like that because nobody prepared them for the real world. Nobody had any type of solution to pass down. Don't be like that. It's time to do better. They deserve better. You deserve better. We deserve better. But only if you believe it. So, shalom, shalom. Like, comment, share, subscribe.